So everyone seems to be here, so it's time to start. Okay, 12:30. Okay. All right, great. Welcome back. Huh? So, the last time we did the cycle, one cycle. So 3 chapters we talked about that, okay? And the exam, presentation, and simulation. Okay. So we did all of these cycle, the first cycle. Okay. This time we're gonna start a new cycle. 3 chapters again, and exam presentation and the simulations. Okay. So today's topic is differences in culture. All right, culture. So culture is very slippery concept. Okay, it's not easy to define culture exactly. Okay? So, but we are gonna try. To talk about that. All right. So our discussions will be very basic. Okay. So we cannot reach any high level of discussions, but we are gonna try. Okay? At this point. All right. Zion, can you turn off your microphone? All right. Great. All right. Some announcement. I wanna make a schedule. I wanna clarify. Okay. So today we are going to talk about chapter 4, differences in culture. Okay? And next week we are going to talk about chapter 6 and 13. Okay? Chapter 6 and 13. Okay? So don't confuse it. Okay? Chapter 6 is international trade theory, the core idea of international business. And also chapter 13 is international trade strategy. So chapter 13 is in terms of theory, the main ideas of international business. Okay? So very important topics. So next week we are going to talk about chapter 6 and 13. Okay? And I have let me make sure the simulations. So you did corporation simulation and the practice round 1. So did you have any problem now? Let me know how much you are familiar with the game. Some technical things and some other things, whatever. Okay? Please let me know. You can type it. Okay? You can say it, whatever. Okay? Please let me know. Your surprise went down massively. Okay. All right. Then there's a problem in your decision, Joaquin. Somewhat understand, but also not. Okay. Okay. All right. We have to go big or go home. That kind of work. Yeah. So basically your game is you fill up the blank, your decisions, and submit your decisions. And your decisions will interact with other teams' decisions and generate a performance. Okay? Then, based on those performances, you make a new decisions. Okay? All right. So, is there any specific technical issues? I still don't know how to play the game. It's a big problem because this is a practice round. You should be familiar with the game first. Okay? The game. So please, there is a manual. Okay? If you have any problem, please first refer your manual. Okay? You can search up. Okay? Then you can play the game. All right. Okay. So also, if you have a problem, let me know. Okay? And So at this point, I assume that you are ready to play the game. Okay? I assume that you are ready to play the game, right? In deeply, not just technical issues. Okay? The strategy things, decision things, okay? Conceptual things, something like that. Okay? And I actually, when I am doing this, this class, I suggest the cultural issues. So when I talk about cultural issues, I suggest the book. Right, it's very interesting book. I read this twice. It was very interesting, very fun. Okay, so kiss, bow, or shake hands, Asia. Okay, so this book. Okay? So Morrison and Conway. Then there's a cultural IQ. So if you are interested in these cultural things, okay, you just read this book and you will have a fun. Okay? So there are big differences, even in Asian countries. Okay, just think about that. Okay? Asian countries, China, Indonesia, Korea, Japan. Some people assume that these countries are very similar, but absolutely not. Okay? European countries, think about that. Okay? Even in the US, okay? States are different. Georgia and Alabama, totally different. Okay, so that is a sort of cultural IQ. All right. Any question? Our schedule so far? Please type no if you don't have a question. Okay. All right. Yeah. Please make sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the culture. All right. Let's start with the warm keys. So your warm keys is available on Canvas. Okay. Right now. So I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. Go to Canvas and take a warm keys. When you're done, please let me know. Just type it. Done. 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 Then you can save our time. Okay. 10 minutes. Joking, you're done. All right, that is done. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, so most people done. Most. All right. Is there anyone need more time? Needs more time? Anyone? If there's no one, we can start to save our time. All right. Great. So let's talk about that. All right. Let's talk about the culture. All right. Culture. We want to talk about some concepts related to culture. Okay. Culture is a broad concept, so there are some sub concepts. Okay. So the first question. Norms are abstract ideas about what a group believes to be good, right, or desirable. True or false? Norms, abstract ideas. True or false? False. Okay. All right. Please, Jensen.
Okay, so the point I want to make, because I went and looked in the book after I got this wrong to see what the thing is, it could be argued that the true or false of this is true the same with the definition, because it says that the group believes to be good, right, and desirable, while the book definition says social rules and guidelines that prescribe appropriate behaviors for particular situations. If a group says you should say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, then the group will do it. So that's.
Yeah. I believe he refers to ethics in this part when he talks about good and right.
All right. Great. What is the main point in this? So, in the culture, there are two important concepts: values and norms. How to distinguish this? Values and norms. Jensen mentioned about that. Okay? So norms, the values are ideas, all right? Abstract ideas. And norms are behavior, all right? So ideas, behaviors cannot separate them, all right? Cannot separate it. That's why norms, values, and norms are extremely closely interconnected. So this is the definition. Okay? Most people use this definition of the values, not norms. That's why we say this is false, right? So I just want to make clear this. Okay? All right. Okay. Values and norms. Okay? So clear. Okay. Jason says all right. Okay. So it's false. All right. Number 2. Folk ways include rituals and symbolic behavior. True or false? That's true. It's true. Okay. And full quiz and what? Compare with what does the textbook say? Full quiz and it says moles, right? It says moles. Okay. It says moles. Okay. So full quiz is a kind of routines, and moles are widely observed things, observed behaviors. Okay. So full quiz and moles. So look at this. Okay. Values and norms, full quiz and moles. Okay. So these are the concepts about culture, composed of culture. But this concept, just one concept, is not standalone. It should be compared with, it should be comparable with other concepts. Then compare, then have a clear concept. Okay? This is structuralism. All right. This is the philosophy of structure. Your textbook doesn't say about that, but so after making a structure, okay, at least two components, then the concepts are clarified. Okay? So sub-concepts, values and norms, and folk ways and modes. Okay? You should distinguish these concepts. Then you have better sense about the culture. Again, culture is a very broad concept and simply concept. Okay, it's not easy to have a crystal clear definition of culture. Okay, so this is about the definition of culture. Okay, and number 3, even if a country can be characterized as having a single homogeneous culture, often the national culture is a mosaic of subcultures. True or false? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, we talked about that. Alabama, Georgia. Think about that. Okay. USA has a homogeneous culture, but the national culture is a mosaic of each different regions. Okay. Number 4. The emphasis on the individual in the United States may raise the cost of doing business due to its adverse impact on managerial stability and cooperation. True or false? Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Okay. I saw many examples on this. Okay. So we talked about individualism and collectivism, right? So sometimes individualism will benefit, okay, but it has a cost too, right? It has cost too. So actually, you recognize it. You recognize it. Okay? A movie of Japanese factory in the U.S. Royalty in your business. Yes, yes. Okay? Sometimes collectivism works beautifully. Okay? But sometimes individualism, is necessary and work, okay. All right. Okay. So think about that. The structure of a organization, corporations. Okay. So I do not agree that individualism is better than the collectivism, or collectivism is better than individualism. Okay. I cannot say like that. Okay. It depends. It depends. Okay. All right. Movies going home. Okay. Then, okay, let's move. Number 5, the most rigid system of stratification is the class system. This is false, right? This is false. What is that? The most rigid system is? Yeah.
Dr. Kang,
Yes.
did you just say the answer was false?
Yeah, because
Because on number 5, it says that the answer is true, but
Yeah, it said it got it wrong.
isn't a caste system more strict than a class system?
This is false.
Well, on the quiz it says.
Quiz it says, yeah,
Oh,
you got it's,
then that is false. I'm sorry about that. It's a mistake. Yeah, so this is false statement. I'm gonna fix it. Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. So what is that? The most rigid system is test system, right? Case, past. Because you cannot move up. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The answer is false. So in the warmer case, in the canvas, probably I mismarked. Yeah. So I'm gonna fix it. All right. So this is false. Number 6. Class consciousness refers to a condition when people tend to perceive themselves in terms of their class background. True or false? Yes, this is the definition of class consciousness. So this is true. And number 7, according to Max Weber, okay, Max Weber is, is a great man. Protestantism encouraged capitalism's development by emphasizing the importance of the wealth creation and frugality. True or false? True. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Yeah.
I found.
All right.
I was going to say I found it interesting that throughout the book it constantly compared the other like religions to Protestantism when it came to the economy. So I was like, okay, that's...
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? It's very interesting. And I also was interested in the Muslim and Protestantism. Okay? So the textbook actually have very interesting points, okay? And not textbook, actually some researchers have very, very interesting points. Okay? So most religions, some religions emphasize actually they're interconnected. They're very similar with the in terms of the perspective to see the wealth creation and frugality. Okay? But Hinduism, Buddhism are somewhat different, but Western and some Eastern religions have very similar beliefs. Okay, good point. Okay. And number 8, the protection of the right to private property is embodied within Islam. True or false? Yeah, it's true. It's true. So Christianity and Islam should protect, they support private property, right? Okay. All right. And number 9, unlike Hinduism, Buddhism supports the caste system. True or false? It's false. Okay. Buddhism emphasizes what? Anybody is interested in Buddhism? Spiritual growth, yes, why not? Why not? Okay. Nibbana, okay? Nibbana, karma, nibbana, yes. Okay. Buddhism emphasizes the recognition of the nature, the world order. Okay. So that is Buddhism. Okay. So other than that, it doesn't, matter. All right, number 10, Guanxi is an important mechanism for building long-term business relationships and getting business done in China. We talked about that, right? This is very, very important in China. Really, 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 really important. Okay, so Guanxi is very, very important. Guanxi in English, just relationship. Okay, relationship. Okay, but this relationship is just different from just relationship in English. This relationship specifies the close relationship. All right, the close relationship in China. Okay. So the relationship between them. All right, this is Guanxi. So you should get into the Guanxi, the close relationship to have a business in China. Okay. All right, I'm gonna fix number 5. Okay, I mismarked the answer. So number 5, that's it. All right, any question, comment? Okay, if we understand that, okay, you don't have problem. I'm not gonna have problem to move forward. Okay, so learning objectives. So we talked about already. Okay? So most of this: culture, religions, social structure, case system, something like that. Language, business and economic implication of differences in culture, social culture, and value, and cultural change. That's it. All right. Very, very general. Okay. Very, very general. Very, very broad. Okay. So we want to talk about that a little bit more. Okay. We are talking about country differences, and next time we are moved to global trade and strategy. Okay. So we are on the path. All right. So today's class activity is the simple one. Okay. So not your chat case. Okay. Actually, this is a better activity. All right. So your team will choose just 2 countries, whatever you want. All right. So these 2 countries should be culturally diverse. Okay. Each country has its own culture. So compare the cultures of those countries, then indicate how cultural differences influence. Okay. The cost of doing business in each country, and the likely future economic development of that country and business practices. So you can think of this. Okay? And you discuss with your team members. Just compare 2 countries, okay, cultures, and the cost of doing business, future economic development, or business practice in terms of these points. Okay, simple, right? So please, I'm gonna create, okay, the team rooms, breakout rooms. We have 3 teams, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes to discuss. And please pick up 2 countries and compare the cultures in terms of 3 points.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
All right, welcome back. So how was discussion? It's good? Okay, so let's talk about that, cultural differences. Team 1. Anyone in Team 1, please tell us what we'll talk about. Team 1, go first. Anyone in Team 1?
We chose the US and Japan.
US and Japan, okay.
Yeah, so there are really different cultures. The main difference is that the US focus on individual, whereas the Japanese culture focus on the collective. So their culture also is more work driven, focused. They work all the time. They can work 10 and 12 hours a day. And so their business practices, they focus on division of labor, assembly line, teamwork and cooperation. And there's a CEO that always, like the top management, make all decisions, and they are like lower uncertainty risk. They don't make any decisions unless they're certain of it. I guess it's cheaper to do business in Japan because they have more resources and more industries where they can get the materials delivered straight to the factories. And it's likely that in the future it will keep on growing and growing at a really high pace.
Right. Great. Okay. So think about that, the fundamental differences in the US and Japan. US has individualism and Japan has a collectivism. Okay? So individualism is good for pursuing some innovations and some other, that kind of the performance, right? Then collectivism is benefit for what? Think about that. Production system. Okay? Production system is some kind of mechanisms, very detailed and complicated mechanisms. So collectivism is based on the production mechanism that will be perfect, right? Individualism cannot work in the production mechanisms. Okay? So that's what we are seeing. The US innovations, okay, is good, and in the Japan production systems, their innovations, okay, in Japan, their innovations, what we are talking about, are also the productions, something like just in time, okay, just in time. But just in time, many US corporations try to learn just in time, and they wanted import just in time system, okay, into the US, but it didn't work very well because the culture is different. So level of division makes sense. Great. All right, great discussions. Any other comments, Team 1?
I was reading an article that talked about how Japan's kind of slowly going downhill, even though they're the third. It said they were the third largest economy behind the U.S. and China. But about how age is a big factor there, and how they're not like. It's talked about birth rates are decreasing and the death rates are exceeding birth rates. So they're expanding, but they're not. The country's not expanding, and I think the fact that they're collectivist isn't going to help them to grow because of not having new ideas being implemented into the economy.
Yes.
Growth.
So production systems, okay, they are routinized. Okay, their collectivism benefit becomes routine because some other countries, okay, based on the collectivism, they just imitate their benefits and take it. So production systems, Japan, for example, they do not have the fundamental innovation in terms of technology. They have innovations in the production system. And production systems, in the production system, some other countries can imitate. Okay? All right? Okay. Great discussion. How about team 2? Team 2. Anyone in team 2? What countries did you pick up? And how do you compare? Team 2, please.
We chose Mexico and Japan.
Mexico
So-
and Japan. Okay, go ahead.
So the cost of doing business in each country, we figured it's going to be more cheaper to do it in Mexico than do it in Japan. And then future economic development in that country. We feel like Japan had more, but Mexico still has potential. It just needs maybe a little push economically, but we discussed that. And then business practice, we felt like they both had. We looked up and we found they both had the same like long hours of working, but Mexico had lower productivity while Japan had higher productivity.
So what are cultural differences between Mexico and Japan? How do you, go ahead.
We determined that Japan was more work, and tradition stuff, and then Mexico's they like to take naps and relax and go with the flow of things.
Okay, I see your points. Okay, all right, good points. So I don't have any clear idea how these two countries will be move in different ways in terms of culture. They have very clear cultural differences, and these cultural differences will impact their businesses too. Okay. Yes. The Mexico has its own culture. Sometimes it makes a problem. Okay, but it's a culture. Okay? So ethnocentrism is not good because I'm the U.S. manager. So all right, take a nap. It's not acceptable. It doesn't make sense in Mexico because it's a culture. All right, ethnocentrism means my culture is better than your culture. No way. Okay, there's no acceptable perspective, something like that. Okay, good. And team 3. Anyone in team 3? What countries did you pick up, and how did you talk about that?
Yeah, and our group, we talked about the United States and Saudi Arabia, and that the cultural differences, that Saudi Arabia is a lot more strict in like religion and the way they do stuff and their practices, which also comes into their businesses, because all the businesses that come into their countries have to follow by like either strict laws that ties in with their Islamic code, or just super strict laws in general in their country. So the cost of doing business would be having to go along with these laws and making sure you're following these guidelines to a perfect, or they just won't let you do business in their country. And I feel like compared to the U.S., we talked about Saudi Arabia might grow. They might not grow more poorly, but just definitely not as fast as the United States because they are so strict in the way they do stuff. And our example of a business practice is something that was actually in the book that we read over, that we discussed, is where banks, you can't give or charge interest rates, and that these banks have to come up with like these like little like tricks to be able to like get the money that you would get from interest or charging it, to be able to like supplement not being able to do such.
That's great. Good points. Frankly speaking, I don't have any experience with the some Central Asian countries. Okay? So I am familiar with some, the Asian countries, especially China. Okay? Especially China. I visited China, and I traveled China a lot, much more than the Chinese. Okay? So Japan, I'm familiar with the Asian countries and Europeans and US and some of the, some Eastern Europeans, but Central Asian countries, I've never had any business experience with them. So probably I will have, I'm gonna have a chance to do so in the future. Then I will, have some more things to talk about with you. All right, great, good points, good points. So basically, superficially, I understand that, the Central Eastern countries are very rigid, the cultures are very rigid. So it's not easy to understand sometimes, but again, okay, cultural IQ or ethnocentrism is not good, okay? So cultures are just different. There's no better culture, all right? Even you're a manager, but there's no better culture. You should be familiar with differences, and you should accept it in many cases, these differences. Okay? All right, good discussions. Nice to hear. I learned a lot. Okay? Any comments? Any question, comments before moving? All right, great. So, all right, let's talk about that. Just briefly, I'm going to sum up, okay, this chapter. That's it. Very simple, right? Very simple. And cross-cultural literacy, right? Cross-cultural literacy. Cultural IQ in different words. An understanding of how cultural differences across and within nations can affect the way in which business is practiced. This is very, very important. If you do not understand the other country's culture, you cannot get into the market successfully. All right? Trust me. Okay. So, understanding and adapting to local culture is very, very important. Very, very important. All right. Culture, a system of values and norms. We talked about that. Values and norms. Values, ideas, norms, behaviors. Okay? All right. Values are abstract ideas. Norms are social rules and guidelines. Okay? And norms, folk ways, routine, and mores. Norms that are seen as a central to function of society. It's widely observable. Okay, mores. Society, a group of people. So these are definitions related to the culture. So you can just it's better than you familiar with these definitions. Okay, because it's just basic concepts. And determinants of culture, a lot of determinants, a lot of factors. Religion, very important. Political philosophy, economic, education, social, and language. Okay, so we talked about most of this and language. Okay, and language we want to talk about a little bit more. Okay, all right. Social structure. Social structure. Classes or caste. All right. Individual or collectivism. All right. So, social structure is the society's basic social organization, individualism, collectivism, or classes and caste. Okay. Just want to clarify, classes you can move, caste you cannot move. Okay. In some countries you can see caste. All right. In Western societies, we talk about individualism. Okay. But creates a lack of company loyalty and failure to gain company-specific knowledge. Okay? In Asian countries, collectivism. Okay? It has a benefit, but it might also suppress individual creativity and initiatives. Okay? We already talked about that. So this individualism, in my perspective, individualism culture is suitable to pursue the fundamental innovations, technology, fundamental things, creative things. And collectivism is collectivism is better to pursue some innovations in highly interconnected system, like a production mechanisms. Okay. Then Western countries create a fundamental technology, and Eastern countries take part of production. Okay. This is why we see this system and quality. but it can be changed. Who knows? Okay. So far, so good. Any question? Please type it. All right, great. All right, social stratification. We talked about caste and class system. Let's move. And religions, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism. I'm not going to replicate these religions, characteristics. Okay? You should, religions, I like these topics, but, I read many books about this, but, this class is not a religious class. So. Ethical systems, a set of moral principles and values that are used to guide and shape behavior. Okay? No problem. Language. Okay? The spoken and unspoken language means communications. Language is one of the defining characteristics of culture. Chinese is a mother tongue of the largest number of people. Okay? So, multiple languages, if you can use the multiple language, it's good. It's perfect. Okay? So I can speak English, I can speak Korean, I can speak Chinese, 3 languages. Okay? Then probably I will learn Spanish too. Okay? So if I speak 4 languages, English, Spanish, and the Chinese and Korean, probably I can communicate with most people in the world. So that's good. That is my long-term, plan or achievement I wanna, yeah. Okay, English is the most widely spoken language, but knowledge of the local language is beneficial. In some cases, it's business. Yeah? So non-verbal cues are important. All right, law of education. Formal education is the medium to which individuals learn. Okay, you can read this. Okay, page that's gonna skip. Culture and workplace. Okay. Hofstede index. Okay, so Lisa, it has a Hofstede index? Yes. Okay. Okay. As noted, it's not easy to have a clear concept about culture. So actually Hofstede, this guy developed a 4 dimensions of culture. Then numbering, right? Scoring. That is Hofstede index. So 4 dimensions are power distance, uncertainty avoidance, individualism, collectivism, masculinity, and femininity. So power distance, how a society deals with the fact that people are unequal in physical intellectual capabilities. For example, in Mexico, the president and me, power distance, very long, right? The US is shorter, okay? And Sweden is shorter. Okay? This is power distance. Uncertainty avoidance, Japan is very high, like uncertainty. In the US, it's okay, I take it, okay? Then I will take a reward too, okay? This is uncertainty avoidance. Individual collectivism, you know this, masculinity and femininity, so you read this, okay? All right, and one more dimension, the 5th dimension, long-term orientation in the Hofstede index. So Confucian dynamism captures attitude toward time, persistence, and ordering by status. Okay, I have very high level of long-term orientations. I like a long-term plan, okay, like 10 years plan, okay? Or 20 years plan. Something like a learning language, or reading some 60 books of classics, okay? Something like that. So this is a long-term orientation. So this culture, all right, Hofstede index is useful to identify culture, okay? But Hofstede index is just a starting point, okay? Starting point, not perfect measures, okay? Not perfect measures. Okay? So again, this is a simple. That's why people use it. not perfect one. So if you understand culture, the workplace will be different. So, and also cultures are not static, it's dynamic. Social turnover, inevitable outcome of cultural changes. So we can see many examples of cultural changes. So you should respond accordingly. All right. Again, this is the most important part in this chapter. Develop cross-cultural literacy. You should understand culture. There is no better culture. There is no ethnocentrism. Okay, it's not good. Okay, it's not good. Why you have ethnocentrism? Why do you think your culture is better than other culture? Because it informed. All right, this is the main idea. You should take it from this chapter. Okay? And yeah, that's pretty much about this topic. Okay, so we talked about chapter 4 so far. Any question, comment? All right, so we talked about that, chapter 4. So next time we're going to talk about chapter 6. Before going, any question, comment about this chapter? All right, so you're ready to go to the next chapter. I will see you in the next week. Good job, guys. You did a great job on the discussion.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye.